my best wishes for this great adventure. And this workshop is very well organized, and thank you for that. And very well organized in the sense that at the very last time, we have some instruction. That means that you prepare a talk which is entitled Non-Dynamic Motion from the Rolling Car to the Rolling Man. And just the day before, you receive the instruction of what you have to do. And then especially to give a clear position statement regarding the challenge and research roadmap in robotics and AI. Just that, okay, a clear position statement. Then I change a little bit the title, okay, and to speak a little bit about the embodied physical intelligence, then to try to make the relationship between robotics and AI, but I insist, I would like just to speak a little bit about rolling car from the rolling car to the rolling man. Okay, then I will start by saying something which is obvious, that robots are moving machines. But why it's very important to say that robots are moving machines, just to say that a computer is not a moving machine. And that means that when you are making information processing, there is no motion. Okay, the specificity of robotics is that there are moving machines, and we try to make these machines as autonomous as possible, trying to plan the trajectory, to grasp object, and then to make that kind of performance here. Then if we are considering that robots are moving machine, and the second consideration is that you want to control the machine at the high level, that means that you want not to program explicitly the motion, but you want to program the action to do, then in that case there are fundamentally there are three action spaces, what I call the action space. Let us consider, for instance, you want your robot to take a glass, just to take a glass and then to type return. Okay, then the expression of the action is in the physical space. And what you have to do, what the human or the robot has to do, is to make the connection between the physical space and the sensory motor space. In that sense, programming a robot is a question of inversion of a space. Okay, and then for the humans, clearly you use your sensors, and you have more than 700 muscles to realize that, and everything is coordinated by the central nervous system. And for the robot, this is exactly the same thing. You have a sensor system, you have a motor space, but instead of the central nervous system, you have a computer. And this question of space inversion, in fact, define what we can call the motion intelligence. Okay, then that means that the realization of the action will be done by the motion itself. And I think that one of the promoters of robotics and in that direction is a famous mathematician who never knew the word robot, because he died before the apparition of the word robot. Then this is Henri Poincaré. And we say that he was speaking about science and natural science. And he say that the experience guides us in the choice that it does not impose us. It makes us recognize, know which geometry is the most true, but what is the most convenient. It's completely crazy, because you have here a mathematician, a pure mathematician, that tells you a sentence from engineering in some sense. Okay, and then I would like to give you some example of that. And for instance, if you want to park a car, then from rolling car, if you start with that, it appears that we succeed in making a a car parking itself, okay, like this, without any learning phase. Just by analyzing the problem, it's possible to understand the geometry of a car, and in the middle of the picture in the middle gives you the feeling of what is that kind, what is the shape of geometry for the car. And once you understand that geometry, it's very easy to design an algorithm to park the car. Of course, here we have been very lucky to solve this mathematical problem. Most of the time, these mathematical problems are very challenging and very open, and we cannot solve. But again, for instance, if we are considering that system here, which is a rolling car with a trailer, then it's possible to, just by considering some geometrical property like the flatness of the system, it's possible to make exact reasoning to park the system like this. Okay? Then without any training, without any artificial intelligence, if you want. There are purely mathematics and algorithms, and then you implement that algorithms. Okay, then during that research, after that, we have been interested, as you have seen, in humanoid robots. And by trying to make a humanoid robot walking, we were also interested by better understanding how the humans walk. And in fact, as you can notice, usually we are walking forward. Okay? It's very rare that we walk like this. Okay? We are walking forward. And in fact, the differential equation that defines the shape of the locomotor trajectory are exactly the same as the differential equations of a rolling body. And then the underlying question is, from a biomechanical point of view, where is the wheel in the body? Okay, and this is the question we ask. And we found it. This is, if you are considering, when you are walking, if you are considering the motion of the center of mass, it appears that the motion of the center of mass follow a tronchoid, which is a special curve, and this curve is given by a rolling wheel, okay, then, and the center of mass is inside this wheel. And in fact, if we made the experiment with more than 10 subjects, and just with some parameter, that means that the size of the people mainly, it's possible to extract 3 invariants of the motion, which is the level of the table here in blue, the radius of the wheel, and the distance between the center of the wheel and the center of mass. Okay, and all of them. Okay, then this is just empirism, and this is just an observation, but perhaps it could give some inspiration to design to new humanoid robot and new control for that. What could be a design of the humanoid robots that start from this reduction property that concentrate all the mechanics of the human locomotion? Okay, then again, this was just example of the geometry we try to enlighten for a given system. But now, in the sentence of Henri Poincaré, there is the status of the experience. Okay, and then the status of the experience in robotics, if we are moving now to the relation with artificial intelligence, in fact, in robotics, we have to learn from physical experience. Okay, and then you know that there are some some experiment like this, then you need a lot of data. Sometimes it's possible, and we have seen with Dieter and Talk, to use a simulation and the dynamic model of that. But we can use that kind of system, okay, to get a lot of data. But in fact, what we need, what is learning in robotics, and this is my view, learning is just a matter of geometry. Then the key point, in fact, there is no miracle at all. The key point is to perfectly define the representation space. Okay, what is the space, the true space where the geometry will operate, and define the geometry. In that case, it's possible to have learning techniques, in fact, that learns the geometry of your body. And now, the robotics, a challenge for AI, this is what I wanted to say. Then definitely the challenge, and most of the previous speaker spoke about that. This is the embodied physical intelligence. Okay, then I think that the majority of the speakers spoke about that, and this is truly a challenge for AI. But now, if we are considering robotics AI, to take the expression by Tamim, this is also a challenge for the public research. Why? Because managing a robot platform has a cost. And if you are working in humanoid robots, humanoid robotics, each time Boston Dynamics, that means SoftBank, each time Boston Dynamics is providing a new video, you are tempted to take a retirement. Now, because it's truly fantastic. It's truly fantastic, and you try to make your robot walking smoothly, and then you have at last jumping. It's completely crazy. But think a little bit about the fact that Boston Dynamics is a company. How many people are working on that project? Okay. Then, what is the manpower which is dedicated to these specific teams? And I think that all of us, in some sense, I don't want to be arrogant, but I think that all of the teams which are represented here, if we provide you with that kind of manpower, it will be possible to reach perhaps that kind of level. Then there is truly a challenge for the public institutions. And for instance, there are some organizations through the European Commission, for instance. There are Terinet, which is the typical example of infrastructure network. But networking existing platforms is not enough. In some sense, we are alone. When I say that, we are together, but each team, in some sense, is alone. It's very difficult to make effective collaboration for that. And then why not to go towards a joint strategy based on the creation of an innovative center? With SAPDER, for instance, we have a little experience making a joint collaboration between Japan and France. And I think that the project, the Japanese project HERP, benefits for France in order to stimulate the research in humanoid robotics. But the key point will be to launch a research-driven program from a platform design. Okay, what is the platform of your dream? Remember, Inaba Sensei was mentioning Inoue Sensei at some stage, where the idea was to provide the university in Japan with the same robot platform, but not the robot platform which is tuned by a team from the academy, but truly at the industrial level, which is very reliable, and then it has been truly a success. And also, what we suffer from the public institution, okay, we want more and more researchers, but we need also engineer and technician for the maintenance of this platform. And all of us, we know how it's difficult to have a permanent position, not a PhD, not a postdoc, but permanent position to maintain that. And by doing that, it will be possible to maintain a permanent international team, very attractive by providing temporary shares and also by organizing some training. This could be my answer to your question. What will be your vision? What will be your dream for that? Okay? Then this summarizes that. And if we are looking truly on what happens mainly in France and in Germany, I think that perhaps we have to go to a better coordination between robotics and artificial intelligence initiatives. Okay, and I would like just to conclude by giving a tribute to Georges Giralt, to remember you that in 1977, he created in France the first robotics group entitled Robotics and Artificial Intelligence. Thank you very much for your attention.